So, hello everyone, and welcome to my session on day two of communication and soft skill workshop. So, today I'm going to teach you vast things again based on communication and soft skill. So, I want you all to be very concentrated and listen to all my words very carefully because this session will be complete, deliberative, and it will be a complete explanation part. So, I want you all to focus on the part which I'll be explaining you today, right? So, starting here with the very first topic of communication skill today will be that why communication skill is important and why you should learn. Because until you don't understand that why you should learn something, maybe communication skill or anything in life you want to learn, then there must be some reason behind it, right? And that's why I'm going to teach you today the entire description about communication skill, right? So the very first point that is very important towards learning communication skill is you have to be, very specific about your sayings. Even if you're explaining something, whatever maybe you're explaining, you have to be very clear and conceptual about it. This is actually, the requirement of communication skill. And I'm gonna tell you something more on this. So you need to again understand the second part, that why this is important is, see, if you are trying to elaborate something unnecessarily, then this may be an issue, and people may feel boring or they won't be able to communicate with you. So you have to be very specific about your words. So these are the things that we learn in soft skill. So if you're trying to explain something to someone or somebody, try to make it very short and relevant. Even if it's too long, you can make it short and relevant so that people can understand the things very precisely. Means your presentation, whether you are presenting to one person or to a group of people or to two or many or whoever, you have to be very precise with whatever you are saying. You have to give a clear instruction, a deep value in short words, right? So this is what we call framing ideas into words. Means you have to understand that something which you are thinking, you have to express it, right? So while you are expressing, while you are, trying to convince people with your words, so you have to show them a bunch of words in a small presentation. And this can only be done if you have a good communication skill. So I have already shared so many tips and tricks, so many things that you should do. You should understand the difference between types of communication, so many. So you have to follow all those categories, and then we'll be proceeding ahead today with other terms. So I was on the part that how shall you, proceed ahead with some of the principles of communication skill, right? So I'll be teaching you what are those, principles of communication that will help you surely to, improve your quality and your communication too. So the very first thing that is very important is courtesy. Courtesy means consideration. Now, what is courtesy here? If you remember, so while if somebody enters in your classroom, you're sitting as a student in a classroom, and suddenly the teachers enter, we show some courtesy, right? We stand and we, greet them with good morning, good afternoon, or whatever may be the time be, or we say welcome, sir, or good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. So we do provide some greetings, right? We do welcome them with a short greeting, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. Even if we meet somebody, we say them good morning, good afternoon. So what are these factors? These are courtesy, means you have to show some respect to them, to your words. And this is the first step towards principle of communication and soft, right? Now, second thing is clarity. Now, if you are saying something or if you want to express something, you should be very clear about whatever you are saying. There should be clarification in your words, your ideas, your presentation. And this can be only done when you are yourself clarified, because self clarification is highly important. Until you don't clarify yourself with what you have to say, until you're not sure about what you have to say, you cannot express it. It means you cannot give 100% to that. So you have to be very specific about it, right? Now we'll be moving ahead with the third point is completeness. Now, what is completeness? If you are trying to elaborate something, even if it takes a bit longer trying, try to make it to a conclusion. Try to bring it to a conclusion. Try to make it 100%. Because if you're giving incomplete data to someone, then they won't understand your point. He or she may feel dissatisfied from your presentation, your sayings. So try to give complete, information about anything you're trying to communicate with. Try to give information in a complete manner with clarity and completeness should be there, right? Now, fourth is correctness. Now, what is correctness? And this is really important. So, if you try to understand one factor, if you answer to any question wrong in examination, you won't be getting any marks. If you are writing partially correct answer, you get partial marks. But if you give complete answer to this exact question, whatever the question has asked you to answer about, then you'll be getting full marks, right? So this is again same happens when you come to communication figure, right? Or soft skill. If you are deliberating something, then you have to be very, very clear and correct. You have to give the most appropriate answer. You have to make most appropriate communication while you're communicating with anybody. You cannot give false information. Don't bluff indirectly, I would say. Because if you don't have information, leave it as it is. You don't have to, be bad about it, or you don't have to show off that you know everything, because everybody cannot know everything, right? So you have to be very, very sure of what you are speaking, right? And now, moving ahead with the next things. So these are the various principles, and there are many more. So these four basically courtesy, clarity, completeness, and correctness. These four are the basic principles that has to be taken care of. Until you don't understand these four basics, other three will be a tough one for you, right? So to cover with basics, you should be very, very clear in all the terms. I repeat, clarity, courtesy, completeness, and correctness. These are the four principles that has to be taken care of very smartly, right? Now, now question comes is, how will you be improving your skills? And what can you do? What can you do to move ahead? How shall you work on it very precisely and with a definite time period, right? The very first point I should say is make your communication a priority. Means if you will prioritize your communication, you can be good at communication skill. You can be sure about what you have to speak. Means, let me elaborate this a bit. If you're trying to elaborate something, you're trying to give detail to somebody, and you cannot find a better means of communication, then you might face issue there, right? So you have to be very, very sure about it, what you are speaking actually about. Now, let me give you better clarification about the same. If you want to prioritize your communication, then you have to go through different kinds of books, magazines. You have to, search for a mentor who can guide you better, right? Who can correct you if you're wrong at some place. And there are many more things like this. So, all total, you have to find a source to move ahead in communication. You have to find a source to learn. And source can be anything. You can be, go to Google Baba, or you can go to YouTube. YouTube is a great place to learn communication. You can look at so many videos. You can find a mentor. You can join various workshops, various webinars. You can get knowledge from so many places, right? And when we start learning something, then there is a factor that matters the most. And what is that? It is that you have, if you are learning something, and if you have a good source of learning, then don't just learn it. You have to practice it. And to practice communication, practice English is the best way to speak it. Write something, speak the same thing which you have written. If you cannot speak directly, then find an indirect part. Think from your mind as well as heart, then try to convert it into a paragraph, as I mentioned in the last video, and then you have to come ahead with speaking the same thing. So this is what we call make your communication a priority. Now it comes with simplify and stay on your communication part. Means whatever you're trying to give. If you're trying to explain something about general knowledge, then stick to the topic. Don't distract yourself and your audience too from the topic. Just be on the topic, Be elaborative if required. Otherwise, make it simple, short, and relevant. This will definitely help you a lot. And the best thing about communication is we try to specify the whatever we say. Uh, we try to specify it in the most comfortable language that we're talking about. Now, if I talk about English, so English is something which looks very professional while you talk, right? And this is the truth. If it looks really very good while you talk, but now let me clarify you once again one thing. If you are sitting in a community of some religious people, like if you're sitting in a with some people who belong to West Bengal and they are not aware of English, and this is something not professional but personal. So what will you be doing at that time? You can use your own mother tongue. There's no issue. You can speak to them in Bengali language. If you're sitting with a set of people who are Telugu or Tamil, you can speak the language Tamil and Telugu. The thing is that you have to maintain all the rules similarly. You can have a freedom to choose your language, but when it comes to profession, try to be very, very sure about your language, that is English. And if you are good at your mother tongue, then you can get confidence. Similarly, you have to give lots of time to learn English, and then you will get confidence there too, right? So moving ahead, take time. Now, this is a very important point. Take time. Now, take time for what? To respond to people, those who are asking you for anything, right? If you are in hurry, if you give, a quick answer without thinking, then it can be a problem for you. So take time, listen to that person, try to convert it into your level of understanding, and then try to, uh, reflect the answer through your words, through your sayings. Means think what you want to say. You have to think very smartly and you have to answer very precisely so that they should get to know that you have understand their point, because whatever they are saying is according to their perception and their set of knowledge, and the answer should be according to them also. And you cannot do that, you can only answer according to them. But yes, you can do one thing, that you can understand what they are trying to say, and then you can answer. So take time, but don't give false answers or something, inappropriate answers. Try to give exact answers. Try to satisfy people with answers, right? Now, uh, the most important part is, for me, I believe, is try to understand what others are saying. And this is the best way to clarify somebody before answering or while answering. If you have understood their point, then you can give the best ever answer anybody would have thought about, right? If the question comes in examination about any, a law, like let's take an example, the question is asking, explain the third law of motion, and you do not know about it. So what will you be writing there? Something bluff, or or either you'll be leaving the question, or you might try to, give some inappropriate data, which is not correct, right? It is not correct. So try to give, complete data about the same. Now, um, again, the next point towards improvement is you have to develop your listening skills. And believe me, this is very, very important. You cannot judge somebody without listening and without understanding them. So you have to, listen to them. You have to be very sure about what you are saying, and you have to be very specific towards their perception. Because if you stop understanding them, if you don't understand them completely, then this could be a problem. And if you understand them, means you're the best listener. If you're a best listener, you can be a very good speaker, I assure you. And the very important one again, body language, which I have already explained you. This is really important because as per the study, it says that 65% of communication is non-verbal. Means whatever we communicate is through oral communication. And oral communication includes almost all the time, it includes what? Your physical appearance, means your visual signs, right? Which helps the listener or the present person, the second person towards in front of you, to understand what you're saying. So you have to be very, very sure about your body language. Don't mess yourself sayings and your body language with your ill-mannered behavior. If you're happy, behave like if you're happy. If you're in profession, you have to behave that you're in like profession. If you're not sure about what you're saying, don't say anything. If you are in dilemma, express your dilemma. If you're not, able to understand what the question or what the query is being asked by the person, try to ask again. Just be sorry, gently, politely, and do ask him or her to repeat whatever he or she has said, right? And the second thing towards, sign, or you can say body languages, maintain eye contact. As I've already depicted, it's really important. You have to maintain eye contact continuously, not with just one person. If there is one person, of course, one person will be, able to look at you, or you will be able to look at him or her, right? But if there are plenty of people, there are lots of people sitting there for maybe meeting, presentation, or just person you have to go for eye contact with each one of them, randomly and equivalently. Now, last but not the least, and the most important one, respect your audience. If you don't respect your listeners, you are nowhere. If you misbehave with them, if you are not sure about what you have to say, you are nowhere. You are finished. Just maintain the decorum and show some respect to them. I guarantee you, you will succeed with your communication. I guarantee you this. Right? So these are the factors that is really going to help you. Now, I'll be taking you to a very important point of our course, and that is that how will you be thinking about like if you have idea, then how should you frame it? So I have given you so many things in detail, about like what shall you do, how shall you connect with, and there are many more. But there are some activities that you can perform, and this will help you to understand on your own. While you are eating, while you're eating, so sometimes it happens that you are into a meeting and then you have to take, a cup of coffee, or you have to, take something, a kind of starter items with a fresh people with whom you are into a professional meeting. So these are the things that really important is, and this matters a lot, especially when you're in profession. So you have to be very, very sure with two things. The number one is quality of words that you're using. Quality of words depict is that whatever you're speaking should be damn perfect. Means you should not deviate your sayings at any cost. Right? You should be clear and clarified with whatever you are saying. You should be sure enough of whatever you are speaking. You should use some good words to impress them. You should be very, precise about what you're saying. So these are what quality of words says. Now coming with some activities which you can practice on your own. You don't need help of anybody. Now let's take an example. If I have a meeting, the first meeting with some professionals, and I'm not sure about how to respond to them, how to behave with them, how to talk to them. So what you can do at that moment is practice some of the activities at home itself. Now what can be those and what are those? Number one, you can take a cup of coffee at your home and you can take a sip, right? Now how to drink coffee, how to put pick that cup of coffee in your hand, how to put it down, how to use handkerchief or the tissue paper, and there are many more, set of rules and regulations that explains about your soft skills, right? Your values that you have learned, and this is really, really important, right? Now when it comes to the second activity that you can do is, sometimes people do use keep a pen and try to make minutes of meetings, like they note down the points. Some people do use phone, some people do use laptop, some people do use some other medium like written notes, and it can be anything, right? They can choose their favorable way of noting down the points. So what is this? How can you make it beautiful? I mean, how can you make it look beautiful, right? So this is something what matters the most. You can maintain the values. If you're noting down something, write it beautifully. Write it in arranged manner. Write the things very precisely. Try to make it short and relevant. Try to use keywords. If there are some points that has to be noted down, don't note the entire point. You won't get time, or you'll miss to listen to them. Try to be sure about what you are noting down, because those minutes of meeting is going to help you in future, right? And these are the certain activities I would suggest you do. And there are many more, right? How do you dress? Your dressing sense again matters a lot towards your soft skills. If you're going for a professional meeting and if you're, a Sherwani, being a guy, or something, designer suit or something like that, being a woman, then it won't affect good towards your personality. It will be a bad effect, bad impact, right? So don't do that. Be gentle, be sweet, be sure about what you're wearing, what kind of shoes you're wearing. Are you looking professional or no? If you are going for a general meeting, a kind of meetup or gathering up, be gentle. Now there, if you wear a professional dress, they would ask you, are you a fool? I mean, they would treat you like Sahzada or Sahzadi, or kind of bade log, generally people say. So be sure about what you're wearing, right? And keep a handkerchief always with you. Maybe a girl, maybe a boy, maybe a man, maybe a woman. You have to be very sure about it. Keep a handkerchief always. Keep some tissue papers always with you, in your bag, in your purse, whatever you're handling it, right? And do carry a water bottle too. If you are traveling somewhere, if you are going for a meetup at cafe and all at the office, you don't need to carry a water bottle, right? Always try to keep that small notepad with you, because sometimes it happens your laptop fails to help you, or sometimes it also happens that your phone will get switched off. What are you doing at that moment? You have to use your notepad. Yeah. And always try to maintain that minutes of meeting. These are the good ethics. These are the good things you need to learn as a good communicator and a good soft skill development, right? And if I talk about one more thing, that is, keep your phone always in silent mode. This keeps you away from distraction. Try to ignore those unimportant or unnecessary calls. But yes, if there is an urgency, you can ask the person to excuse you and you can receive the call, right? And even if you can't receive the call, at least you can drop a message. Don't try to ignore the important calls and messages, right? So these are things that I could have told you in detail. And as I cannot help you out with the activities on virtual messages. So it would be better and it would be convenient that you can connect me in future too. If you text me, if you comment me in the chat box, we can continue with some of the activities. But there should be a bunch of people who should be there to perform certain activities which I have decided to play with during this entire session. But this would be only possible if there are lot many people. So I would take a very simple initiative to help you out with this is try to be sure about what you're speaking and try to be gentle to everyone. That's it. So thank you so much for your patience hearing, and I would love to connect you in future for any other issues if you have. Thank you so much.